So thank you for coming, everybody. We have, I believe, 14 people that graduated from Culver City High School. And they're going to share with you about their college experience. And so I want to start with introductions. I'm Miss Adrienne Madrid. I'm the career counselor at Culver City High School. And we also have Miss Valverde here as well, who'll be asking the questions that we have. And then please feel free to share any questions in the chat and we'll be able to answer those as well. So we'll go ahead and start off with introductions. Go ahead. Go ahead and start.
So my name's Alex Marati. I graduated from CCHS in 2017. I'm currently going into my senior year at the University of Michigan. I'm studying anthropology right now, and if the schools open up in the fall, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. for all next semester. And a fun fact about myself is that I've lived in the 3 biggest cities in the U.S.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can see. I'm Aurelie. I graduated also class of 2017. I'm going into my last year at UCSC, so Santa Cruz. I study anthropology and art history. Pretty much, yeah. And a fun fact, I drive a 2011 Volkswagen Jetta. It's so nice. I love my car. Yeah, that's it.
All right, my name is Chloe, and I graduated from CCHS in 2017. I'm currently going to school at Loyola Marymount University, and I'm studying communication studies and minoring in studio arts. Fun fact, I recently found out that I do this box thing weird, the way I close it. So I don't know, that's a fun fact. Oh, that's best snack.
All right. Hello, my name is Christian de los Santos. I graduated in class of 2015. I went to Cal Poly studying industrial engineering, where I got my bachelor's degree. I enjoy like airplanes, so most of my career experience is like with aerospace companies. I think Fahim is also like an aerospace engineering student. And fun fact, I'm a really big like High School Musical fan, like Troy Bolton. So in high school, I played a lot of sports, and then in college, I did a lot of theater. So yeah, that was really fun.
I think I'm next then, right? Okay. So my name is Esmeralda Sandoval. I was born and raised Culver City, graduated also in the year 2015 from CCHS. I graduated from UC Santa Cruz with a bachelor in anthropology. However, I'm currently working on my graduate school applications because I want to be a physical therapist. So I ended up going kind of a different route if people want to ask some questions about that. And fun fact about myself, I'm an essential worker right now. So that's pretty cool. I feel really blessed to have a job. So after this, I'll be going to work. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey everyone, my name is Fahim Chinara. I graduated Culver City High School in the class of 2017. I'm originally from Karachi, Pakistan, but I was raised here. I moved here when I was about 3 months old, so I've been in Culver City all my life. And I currently go to USC. I'm studying aerospace engineering. And some fun fact, I guess, about me is that I've been interning with this company north of Grumman that I'm actually at right now at work since high school, since my junior year of high school. So definitely got a chance to start early, and I'm really grateful for that. But hope to hear some good stuff from you guys too. Nice to meet you all.
Am I next?
Okay.
Mason?
I think
it's
Mason.
Mason.
Oh, Mason. Oh,
Oh, Kathleen.
oh, it's my last name.
Hi, I'm Kathleen.
graduated Culver City High School in 2017. I go to UCLA. I'm finishing up my junior year right now. I study biochemistry, and I'm working on a minor in public affairs. Fun fact about me: I studied abroad this past summer. So, if you guys have questions about that, answer. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Okay, so my name's Kathy. I'm from LA, and I graduated from Culver, I think 2017, and I currently go to UCSC. I'm finishing my third year, and I study anthropology. And a fun fact about myself is that I've been in the same room as Drake and his dad at the same time.
Oh.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kate. I am from Culver City, graduated 2017. I just graduated from Villanova, majored in political science and minored in Chinese and honors. I plan on going to law school, and I met Adam Sandler at a circus once when I was like 9.
Ooh. Nice. Cool. Am I up next? Oh. My name is Mason. I'm from here in Culver City. I graduated from Culver High in 2018. So I'm a junior, or I'm going into my junior year of college next year. I go to Harvey Mudd College in Claremont, California. I'm studying mathematics, and fun fact myself is, I don't know. I ran cross country for 3 years in high school and served as co-captain my senior year.
I think I pick up from there. Hello, my name is Max. Born and raised in Culver City and graduated 2017. I'm currently studying computer engineering at UC Davis. I'm in my third year. I don't know, for a fun fact, I like to run around barefoot. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Hi, I'm Mikhail. I'm from Los Angeles. I graduated in 2018 from CCHS. I go to MIT now. I've just finished my second year. And I study physics and computer science. And a fun fact about myself is that I probably spent more money combined than I've ever spent in the past like 3 months. So that's not very good, but yeah.
Yeah, right? It's me.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it, go.
This is just like, hey, my name is Patrick Gardner. I graduated Culver High in 2015. I went to UCLA and studied psychology as a major and music industry as my minor. I currently work at Westlake Recording Studios in West Hollywood. And fun fact about me, I probably also spent more money in the past couple months than I have in my entire life, but that's because I got in a car accident and your insurance only covers so much. So be careful, kids.
Did we all go now? I think we did.
I haven't gone, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I also got here late. I apologize. I'm so sorry for showing up late. Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. I'm also born and raised in Culver City. I graduated in 2018 and now I go to UC Berkeley and I'm studying molecular and cell biology, looking at a minor in chemistry, also looking at an English minor, just kind of sounds fun. And a fun fact about me is that I've worked in a fly lab and so I can dissect flies. It's cool.
All right, I think we are ready to start our questions. I want to thank you all for taking the time to work with our students and to just tell them about your experience overall. So the first question we have is, how did you go about researching your colleges?
So for me, like, I basically looked at the colleges that I already knew of from like my parents and friends that I've heard about from. And I also like I know this obviously isn't an option right now, but I traveled to a lot of those colleges to see which campuses I liked the best, and I ended up choosing the college with the campus I thought was the best out of all of them.
You guys want to go in a certain order or just chime in? Maybe raise your hand. Maybe that might work if we just kind of raise our hands or something.
Hello. Okay. So for me, like similar stuff for Alex. But another thing I would say, it's really cool to kind of reach out to like your friends who might have graduated before you and see like what they think of the campus they're at. So for example, like I talked to Kathy last week about UC Santa Cruz just because like I was curious about it because one person that I know is like kind of interested in going there, but she's kind of shy. And so I was like, okay, I'll learn about like UC Santa Cruz and like try to like see if it's the right fit. But yeah, like for you, I would say like reach out to people that you know, like people in your network, to kind of like get their feel about how the campus is like. Because yeah, I think it's important to research, but also like really utilize the people you know. So yeah.
On the note of campus tours, since Alex said you can't do that right now, a lot of schools are actually doing virtual campus tours. And so it's actually becoming even more accessible to like visit a campus, even though you're not visiting, it's still going to be like a presentation about the campus. UC Berkeley's doing them. Go to a UC Berkeley campus tour. They're really fun. Okay.
Okay. I actually, the way I researched it was I went on like bigfuturecollegeboard.org and they have like options where you can like type in like, oh, I want to go to a big school, I want to go to a school here, and they kind of help you find that, and then you can click on it and like there's information about each college, so I would really recommend that website. But yeah, I guess in the end it's more like once you've been accepted, trying to decide where you want to go. Definitely it's hard right now, especially with what's going on, but I think it's a definite, like you have to feel it out. That's what it was for me, at least. I knew where I wanted to go the moment I stepped foot on campus, so yeah.
For me, I pretty much just applied to all of the UCs because it just felt like the most accessible option. But beyond that, I knew I wanted to study chemistry or biochemistry, something like that. So I researched what schools had scholarships for that kind of program specifically. Didn't get any of those, so I went to UCLA. But it was helpful to like narrow it down.
Yeah, and also kind of to Kathleen's point, I mean, when you sort of think about what program you want, and at least for me, once I decided, okay, I want to do engineering, and this, what schools would be good for that, down the line, especially if you do this early on, it'll really pay off. Literally, if you think about financial aid packages that different schools offer, some schools, you think, oh, they're private, I'm not going to get a lot of money, but definitely ask questions and inquire. Even in times like this, especially, a lot of college counselors as well as advisors and financial aid people are really willing to talk to you on Zoom and reach out by email and really communicate well with you. So reach out and find out all the details. And it may not matter as much right now, but down the line, when you're graduating college, you want to get a new car, you want to do different things, you'll have to keep in mind your debt from college as well. So find good financial aid package definitely, and look for scholarships as well, like Kathleen mentioned.
I will say though, because I know when I was looking for undergraduate schools, I was kind of thinking of a couple different avenues to study. So for those of you who aren't quite sure what you want to do yet, I would recommend, if you're interested in certain universities, look at what majors and minors they offer and make sure there's like a multitude of different ones that you could choose from in case you don't like one. And knowing if it's, again, like it's important to know, do they offer this as a major and a minor or just one or the other? So if you don't like the first thing you chose, like I did, you can easily choose something else and you're not feeling stuck there. I think that's something really important that I had to look at when choosing my college.
To kind of piggyback off that, there's I think it's super important to look at like the actual location of the school, like if you have several schools to pick on, especially when you are looking for like, you know, what internships you might be doing your junior or senior years. You know, I think, you know, for you know, Berkeley is really cool if you're like in the Bay Area, or like Stanford, you know, if you want to do CS and all that kind of stuff. Or actually, like a lot of my friends who went to Davis like went there and started doing agricultural stuff, right? So that's obviously like a key place for that, for LA entertainment, but really for anything. So location is much more important than I think people realize.
Yeah, sort of on the note of location, this kind of goes into the second question we have of why'd you choose your college? I knew I wanted to go to a school on the East Coast, or like near East Coast, and I knew that I wanted to go to like a big small school. So like Villanova has 7,000 people, so it's bigger than high school, but it's not too huge, excuse me. And when I visited on a day that wasn't their admitted students day, and they really like rolled out the red carpet, and they like did that for everyone. And so that really demonstrated like the sense of community that there was there, and like connection with faculty. And like Chloe said, the campus was just beautiful.
Mhm. Okay, I guess we can go into why did you choose the college? Like what was the main reason that you guys could tell the students in terms of why you ultimately decided on that one college?
I think what a lot of people are saying are like points where people are going to their favorite college that they desired initially, at least that's what it like sounds like. But personally, my top choice was NYU, and I did get accepted, but I just could not afford that whatsoever. And my career path is different from my major as well. So I feel like I'm in a different situation from a lot of people where they're doing internships that pairs up with their major. And I'm an anthropology major, but I plan on working in the music industry after I graduate. And NYU would have been like great for that. So I do think a location is very, very important. Although you can still go and get a really valuable education somewhere that is more affordable, or just something that checks enough boxes. Because like it's really tough when you have high expectations and maybe you're not able to visit. Or honestly, now that it's online, it's probably a lot better, because I didn't really get the opportunity to visit other schools. So you kind of have to trust your gut and see what is the best option for you and your major and your education as well. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to go off that and say, also, I feel like anything you choose that's within like maybe your top 10 choices is probably going to be great. And a lot of times people overthink like the perfect choice. I mean, obviously try to get the best situation for you, but yeah, I don't think it's that deep as far as like out of the top 5 schools, probably you can make like your best life at any one of those schools.
When I applied to college, I applied to quite a few, and I had like a big pile of like places where I could potentially go to. My plan was going East Coast, actually. Like I wanted to get as far away from home as possible, but I guess in the end, like to be completely honest, I chose the college that I'm at now because they gave me the best financial aid. And I'm really happy that it ended up being this school out of all of them, because I would choose this school again, like if we were to go back in time. But I think it was a lot of like, oh, do I like this place? Like you had to take that into consideration. But at the end of the day, it was like, what can I afford and what's not going to be like what's not going to make me have crippling debt after. Yeah.
I think it's also important for people to go where you feel like you're at home. I feel very, very at home in Berkeley. Even though like school is challenging and there are a lot of things that like I struggle with, and rent is really expensive in the Bay Area. I feel like Berkeley is like where I'm meant to be. I know that sounds really cliche, but I really feel like it has a vibe and it has like a culture that I really enjoy and that I really agree with. And being surrounded by people who have similar views as me and similar interests, I think that it's really nice. And so going where you feel at home, I think is also really important.
Anybody else want to add to that? Okay, so well, I know Chloe kind of answered this already, but if you could go back, would you choose the same college again? Is that a yes, no?
I've got one. I'm gonna hop in. So I ended up not like making it into some of my main choices for my major for computer engineering. And I was choosing between a few. I ended up choosing Davis, which really isn't known for its program. And I have had some mixed experiences. I've had some professors that aren't the best, and then some amazing professors, and the amazing professors really do make a difference. But I've also found that I did really love the place. And I really liked Christian's point as well, that if it's if it's a school that you think you would like, and if it's a place you know you might be able to make yourself at home, you will be able to have a good time there. That like obviously you don't want to say go to Texas if you hate the heat or something, but so I really liked it here. I love riding around and going to the farmers market and all kinds of things. And so even though it's not the best fit for my major, and I've had even some kind of meh experiences, I still love it here, and I would absolutely choose it again.
For me, so I'm in my third year right now, and honestly, the first 2 years, I was always like, at the back of my mind, thinking, I wish I went to Berkeley, or like I shouldn't, like I chose the wrong place, like darn. But at this point, I feel like I've built a life for myself. I really agree. Like you can stick it out. Like you're in college, it's really not going to be that bad. So yeah, I chose UCLA like strictly based on the program. Like it had the list of classes that I wanted to take, and like other schools didn't have that. So I think, I don't know, sorry, I'm kind of distracted, but yeah, I think no matter where you go, even if you kind of kick yourself for it at the beginning, like you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Kat said. I do agree. Like the time it takes to get acclimated to like college is really different for everyone. So I know people who like they got to college and like within 2 weeks they're already like at home and everything. So don't feel that you have to like be so confident and love it right away. I know like for me it took a little longer. For a lot of my friends it took maybe a few semesters or something like that. It really does take like different amounts of time for everyone. So I really think that like there's no like recipe or like roadmap like how you should feel. But definitely like I would say college is like a really cool place where you do kind of get to explore your passions and stuff like that. But yeah, everyone is like kind of different.
I agree with that. Personally, I would choose Berkeley over and over again, and I really am glad that I'm here. But also, it's totally okay to feel like you didn't choose right and feel like you want something else. And I know people here who are like, yeah, I don't love it. I'm going to finish, but because I have built a life for myself, just like Kathleen said, and it's totally okay. That's all good. And it's also good if you switch and if you go somewhere else. So it's like a lot of students don't finish where they started, and that's completely okay. It's not a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. It's just you finding the right place for you. So I think that that's really important to remember, that there doesn't need to be a ton of pressure on choosing the right place on the first try. So
Yeah, sort of like on the note of, I think now I would definitely choose the school again, but like in the middle of my sophomore year, I was like wishing I had transferred after freshman year. And I had sort of a mixed experience, but like I didn't transfer because I didn't, you don't know that the other school's gonna be more of a fit for you. You might just like not like college or something, but like sophomore year, I knew I was only doing 3 years, so I knew I only had one more year if I stayed at Villanova, and so I just stuck it out. And it is really like it's an amazing school. It just wasn't necessarily the best fit for me.
I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead and just ask you guys how you guys went about selecting your major. I know some of you had an idea, but those of you who didn't, if you can share how you went about the process.
Yeah, I'll go talk about that. So I came into Harvey Mudd pretty set on studying engineering, but Mudd's got a pretty hard set of general education requirements, and so I didn't really take an engineering class until the beginning of my sophomore year, and I took 3 engineering classes that semester, and I really didn't like it at all. I felt like I was just learning to be a computation monkey and just like plugging and chugging, and I wasn't really using my brain to solve problems. But meanwhile, in the math classes I had taken before, I was really using my brain to solve problems, and those classes really asked me to think creatively and outside the box. And I realized that, what I was looking for was less how do I build a robot, and more just like give me intellectual challenges and something that makes my brain work. And so, yeah, that's why I chose mathematics, because I got a taste of the classes and a feel for what the major was going to be like.
So for me, I came into college thinking that I was going to be a public policy major. And I started going on that path until I realized I could not take an economics class. So after that, I took like a wide range of classes until like I found an area that I found really interesting. And then I took a few more classes in that and ended up majoring in anthropology. So like you never really know where you're gonna end up, and when you start out, like you could have a whole idea of what your major is gonna be, and then end up in something completely different. That's totally fine.
Yeah, speaking from that point, because I was so split and I did get my bachelor's in anthropology, but I'm going to physical therapy. So what I did was, since I knew I was interested in a couple of different paths at once, I kind of started both of those paths at the same time. And by the time I realized that I wanted to pursue physical therapy, I had already started an anthropology track and a pre-med biology track. Thank God I could balance the two. So then the reason I ended up choosing anthropology is that I did really enjoy it and I was good at it. But I knew it wasn't going to give me the future I wanted. But it was easier to finish that major and still do the prerequisite classes for graduate school for physical therapy and graduate in 4 years. Had I chosen the bio major, I would have not been able to finish the prerequisites for grad school, finish the bio major, and graduate in 4 years. So sometimes you have to do that strategic planning of let me taste a little bit of everything. Then once I decide what I want, like what is the best plan for me? If you don't graduate in 4 years, that's okay. But that was just kind of my plan of choosing anthropology because I really liked it at the end of the day, but it was also easiest to complete while I had my bigger dream in mind, if that makes sense.
So, I'm biology, but when I was applying to schools, I was like, I want to do chemistry. I love chemistry. I'm a chemistry girl. But then I learned more about chemistry, and I realized that I didn't actually want to do chemistry. And one of the things about Berkeley is that we have a separate college for chemistry. It is actually the #1 college of chemistry in the nation. It's really cool. But when I was applying, I was like, wait, do I actually want to apply to the College of Chemistry? Because like, it's the hardest and the best and is like preparing people to get PhDs in chemistry and not go to medical school, which is what I want to do. And so it took a little bit of realizing like, oh, you know what? I actually don't want to do chemistry. I want to do something kind of chemistry adjacent. Maybe I can tack on chemistry. And then I ended up applying to the bigger college, the College of Letters and Science. And I'm doing molecular and cell biology, and I like that a lot. And I can also take chemistry classes. And it's also a great major leading into medical school. And so I think it's definitely really important to know the different like systems and stuff in the colleges, in the universities that you're interested in, because had I applied College of Chemistry, it would have been really hard to do other things outside of chemistry. But since I applied to the College of Letters and Science, it's easier to do things outside chemistry, maybe with a little bit of chemistry added on.
So oh my gosh, I just had a brain fart. What was the freaking question?
Oh, it was, oh shoot. How you went about selecting your major. Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay. To go on a little different route than everyone else, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, absolutely no idea. I chose communication studies because I was like, okay, so like really broadly, I would do a job that has to do with communicating. And I chose that on a whim as I was applying. And it ended up being a really good choice for me, but I also realized that in my school, if I did want to change my major, I could do that very easily. I ended up learning more about my major during like in class. So I guess I would go to class. I did some like different fun classes, and that's how I discovered, oh, I want to do studio arts as a minor. Yeah, so it's I think I still don't really know what I'm doing in my major. Like, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but it's like if you're in school and you're doing something that you enjoy, I feel like that is what is really important to me. And I do enjoy it. And yeah.
To share a little bit of a sort of different perspective, I'm one of those who really knew what he wanted to do kind of going into college. And, I know it's not how everyone kind of starts off. From a really young age, I loved, playing with Legos and, doing engineering things. And, that kind of just segued itself into, having an internship in high school, which I know is not something that's very common. But the point I'm trying to make here is that, really, especially if a lot of you guys are, sophomores, juniors, I know a little late for the seniors, but, if those of you guys are in your younger years in high school, definitely take advantage of programs of the summer. That's a really great way of learning about, what the experience ahead is. You may not always find the right program. You might, do like a 10-week thing where like a camp or something, and you think that, oh, it didn't really pay off in the end, but you never know unless you explore, really. So, take advantage of those summers is what I'm saying. Do something that's fun and creative, or, if you're not sure what you want to do a whole bunch of things. But really, spend some time during the summer thinking about, down the line, and that really does pay off in the end. For me, I'm still working at the same company that I worked in high school, so definitely something to look into and think about.
I just want to say, that like I totally agree with both Fahim and Chloe, because like I was in Chloe's position, and yeah, like finding your interests and passions as they relate to your career and your major, it's hard. Like it's not going to be something you necessarily know right away. But I agree with Fahim where it's like, if you want to figure it out in the time you're in college or maybe even high school, like take on challenging projects and really try to stretch them, because that's kind of what I did. And that's what allows you to figure out, like, is this something that I like? And if not, then it's okay, because like there's still more time to figure it out. But yeah, totally agree with both of them.
So did any of you guys do internships, or did many of you do internships before selecting your major, or did you do internships after you selected your major?
So go for it, Kathy. Go for it.
Sorry. So in my experience, I definitely think what Fahim said earlier is really helpful, because in high school, the College Career Center helps a lot. Like, honestly, one of the programs that I found out through the College Career Center like changed my life. It's called Women in Entertainment, and it pairs you with a mentor in the music or in the entertainment industry, depending on your interests. And honestly, I didn't know if I liked the entertainment industry or not, but because I just like tried it out and like just applied, I got in, and honestly actually changed my entire life. I just got super lucky. I don't know if it was luck or if it was meant to be, but here I am. And then also I did, because of that, I did an internship at a talent agency when I was 16 years old. Definitely should not have been in that internship because everyone else was like 20 years old, and it was just, but it was a learning experience. But then after that, I went to college as an anthro major, and people are really confused when they're like, why are you an anthro major if you want to work in the entertainment industry? But with literally anything entertainment, it doesn't matter what you graduate with, as long as you have a degree and as long as you know people that will help you get to your place. So after my freshman year of college, I interned at a record label when I was home in LA, and that's when I learned it really doesn't matter what your major is. Like, people will be confused, but it really doesn't matter what your major is, depending if you're going into entertainment. Obviously, everything else is different, and I stuck with anthropology because I really don't like school. Like, I find it really hard to study constantly and keep up with my assignments, but I still do it and I get good grades, but I just don't really enjoy it. And the only reason why I do it is because I love anthropology and I have such a passion for it, even if it doesn't align completely with my career path.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so I did a summer of research in the physics department at my school before choosing my major. It's not technically an internship, but I did work for 10 weeks and got paid for it, close enough. I think it was a good experience because I don't want to go into physics research directly, but it kind of opened the door to research as a concept. Like, I didn't really know that what academic research was. I didn't know that it was a thing. I didn't know what it looked like. But that experience definitely kind of shaped my future goals. Now I'm considering like a PhD or in something because of that research experience and learning that I really liked doing that research. So that internship experience kind of shaped my future goals more than it did my choice of major.
I did my internships last summer. I did 2. Very different tracks. I had already chosen my major. My first internship, I was an intern at an art gallery, and my second one is I was interning at a fashion PR company. And I think doing those things kind of, it showed me what I do like in a job or what I don't like. I think I got a job at school. It's work study. It feels kind of like an internship, but I basically make designs for like branding and marketing for the film department at my school. And that's how I discovered like, oh, this is kind of more my track than like fashion PR or like art gallery work. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I didn't do any internships during college, which good idea, bad idea. That's what I did. And I did do a program that the school offered for like a month at the beginning of last summer in Washington, D.C., which was really cool. And I loved that. And it helped me like learn a lot about what daily life really looks like in politics and that field. And going in, I didn't know what I wanted to do. A couple of years before college, I wanted to be a doctor. Like, I applied to the business school, all over the place. But it really was just like the classes I was taking, I sort of like fell into my major. And it was a great fit.
I wanted to ask you guys, what do you wish you had known going into freshman year?
You go, Kate, first.
Okay. Well, going into freshman year, I heard a lot from upperclassmen that they like wish they'd gotten their requirements out of the way earlier so they could be taking classes they were more like interested in or that were more fun in their later years. And I did that, but I wish I had known to do the opposite, because I really think it's important, like your first and second year, like do some of your requirements, but like that's the time to take classes, all those random classes that you might be interested in, because you'll get locked in if you do all your requirements and then like settle on a major your junior or senior year. You won't have like that learning experience and had that opportunity to see different options.
Also, sorry, along those lines, I mean, one thing I really learned each year in college and also in high school is, time management. It's really, sometimes you undervalue it at like an early age, or you don't think about it too much, because you just kind of, in high school, we go along with the rhythms. But then later on, as you get into college, each year it does build and it does sometimes get harder and harder, but you'll see, at least I wish I knew that, earlier on, starting, if you master that skill early on and, just apply yourself more and give yourself more responsibilities, so you get more opportunity to manage your time and, balance your tasks, you'll have time to do things that you'll really want to do for fun. In high school, at least for me, I was somebody who really loved doing, extracurriculars. I, ran across country, I did CPY, I did a lot of things. And that was easier to balance in high school, but sometimes, it does get a little harder in college. But, if you keep keeping your schedule in mind and maybe even make a schedule for yourself, like weekly or monthly, that's something that can, you can definitely do things you really want to do for fun. And, a lot of times in college, there's events at night or there's things that happen in the evening time after classes. So you really want to try to take advantage of things like that, because you never know when you'll find something really cool that you'll want to pursue later on in your life or even right then and there. So definitely keep time management in mind.
I know for me, it seems like when you're going into college, everyone seems like they know what they're doing. But trust me, no one knows what they're doing. Like, do not panic. If you seem like the only lost person in the class, or you the only one like doesn't have your future life together, like trust me, even now, half the things I do, and I've graduated from high school and college, like I'm still guessing going into grad school. Like obviously I have informed decisions, but just don't be afraid to think I'm the only one that doesn't understand something. Like, and going off of that point, like don't be afraid to be that weird person that goes to the person next to you, is like, hi, I'm Esmeralda, what's your name? And then like exchange contact information. Like that saved my butt so many times later on in college, like having those contacts in different classes and also talking to your professor. It can be very scary to talk to someone who you think is like really smart and you admire, but they want you to talk to them, because like that's how I got a lot of really amazing opportunities and connections. So just don't think you're the only person that is completely lost, and because of that, always communicate with your fellow peers and professors, because everyone's just trying to help everyone out. We're like all just trying to get to that same graduation point.
I agree with that. Oh, sorry. Can I go real quick? My biggest regret in the world is not sitting in the front of the class for a lot of my classes, and that is just completely out of fear. I walk into class and I'm like, okay, this person is a professor, they are really smart. I don't want them to look at me, because them looking at me just feels like they're staring into my soul. I don't want that. I'm scared. And so I sit in like the middle to back. And that is my absolute biggest regret of all of college. Like, I wish that I had sat in the front few rows. I wish that I had made connections with my professors, and it's like, it's not scary. They're not scary. They're really, really nice people. And so it's really, really important to form connections with your professors if you can. Most are available through office hours and just through participating during class, and that is my absolute biggest regret.
Yeah, this is kind of along the theme of the last two answers, but going into college, I wish I knew it was like okay to ask for help, and saying it out loud sounds a little silly, but I know I definitely after high school and somehow left with the mentality that like if you ask for help on something, it means you're not smart, or it means you're incompetent, or it means you're not good enough to figure it out yourself. But that's not how anything in the world works. Like nobody knows how to do everything, and everyone needs help. So don't be ashamed to ask for help and get in the habit early. It just helps you in so many ways, from like academic life to social life to like figuring out clubs and internships and career stuff. Just ask for help whenever you need it.
Kind of going off of that, I feel like don't be discouraged if, like, let's say you get rejected from a club or an internship like that. I remember being really intimidated by like the caliber of people who were applying for the same things that I'm applying for, and I didn't get a lot of those things. And then I kind of just was like, well, I'm not going to apply to anything, like screw it all. But that's really not how to build like a life for yourself. So yeah, I think just like keep going. Like there's a fit for you wherever you're at.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to say too. In college, I think it's important to kind of like free yourself from this fear of failure that we have in high school. Because, in high school, I think there's this common way of thinking where we're trying to get or take the right combination of classes so we can get the highest GPA. But like, so we might forego taking a certain class because we think we might get a B or like a C, like, woo. But I feel that like same thing with Kat, like working for Boeing, working for Northrop Grumman, I like would not have gotten to that point without all of the rejection and all the failure that happened before. So a lot of times people like to look at kind of the end result, but really it's the journey that has got you there. And if you're kind of like afraid to take these risks and take these like challenges on, you're kind of like, you won't be able to learn as much. And so that's kind of the one thing that I would recommend for like high school students going into college, is like kind of try to change your mentality just a little bit. Cause I mean, getting a great GPA is still important, but really try to like explore what you're the most passionate about and see where that kind of like takes you. So yeah.
So my freshman year, or what I wish I knew going into college, I guess it's a really personal thing, but I was hoping like maybe somebody needs this, because I have anxiety and depression, and I was really nervous about going to this new school. Like, how am I gonna like live my life? I think it's really important to make sure that you don't keep that like within yourself. Like if you're struggling in school because of a mental illness, you can talk to literally everyone. They're very willing to help you. For a while I wasn't telling my professors what was going on, and it was kind of like they probably just think that I don't care. And as soon as I came out and was like, hey, like I actually just need help, or like I need an extension because of so and so, they're very understanding. I think they have a lot to offer too regarding like resources. A lot of schools have like a psych center, and I know my school at LMU, they have a program called LMU Cares, and it's like it's not like so you go and they're like, what do you need help with, and they kind of lead you in the right direction. So do not be afraid to ask for help. Like that's basically what I wish I knew. If you're struggling, ask someone for help, because they're probably more than willing to help you.
You guys, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying quickly that especially like the first like month or so, like I feel like it's a really special time because everyone's, brand new and kind of meeting each other. So I feel like really try to live in the moment like during that time. And yeah, like I think back on it, I'm like, wow, like what a unique time in life where everyone was just completely brand new to each other. So yeah.
I didn't add this question, but I wanted to ask you guys, how many of you guys met with your advisors, your counselors early on to map out or your own? you want to address that? Like any regrets you might have, or did you? Because I always hear like sometimes kids will just grab things, and I, as a counselor, I hear it all the time. I'll figure it out on my own. It's all online, and you don't really talk to an advisor. So if you guys could let me know how you went about that.
So coming from a bigger school, so UC Santa Cruz is one of the largest UCs, and plus the UCs in general, I'm sure you guys all know, are like some of the largest universities. And it's really hard to, oh my God, I just blanked. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
Just if you guys used like an advisor, if you actually met with.
Okay, so I think my initial worry was not getting the classes that I needed in order to graduate on time or early if I wanted to. But for at least at Santa Cruz, STEM is really hard, is very competitive. So I have a friend who actually was, I think he was a computer engineer, and he failed one of his very first intro classes and got kicked out of the major completely. And then as a result, he dropped out because he didn't want to pay for a school that he didn't like, a major that he didn't want to do. And for me, I went to my advisor pretty much every quarter, just to make sure I was still on track and I was doing my requirements, or like maybe I would have some time to do study abroad at some point. And like, it's always nice to just have it. It's just a kind of like keep it at peace of mind, especially if you go to a big school. Like, you have to make that initiative to go out of your way and talk to these people, because otherwise you're just going to feel like a number in like the UC system. And I constantly felt that way, but it was my own fault. You have to reach out, and it's easier said than done, but once you do it, you feel a lot better.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, along those same lines, like I also go to a really big school, and like being able to just talk to your advisor at the beginning of every semester or so, like, or at the end when you're choosing your new classes, like it's a really good resource for you, and it really helps you like figure out like which of these classes along your major's lines or extracurriculars do you think you could get the most out of? Which of these seem most interesting? Do they know the professors personally? Then in addition to that, they're also really good at pointing out like specific programs you could look at applying to. Like I know that my advisor pointed me at this one program I'm going to be participating in next semester, where I'm going to be going to DC. So the advisors are a really good resource for that, just like helping you and make sure you're on track.
Go ahead, Kate.
So, like, coming from a smaller school, like Villanova has 7,000 people undergrad. And so your freshman year, you're required to meet with an assigned advisor to get the password to register for your classes. And then they encourage you to still do that. And then you get assigned like an advisor specifically for your major. But something that I did beyond that like I felt was helpful was I like popped into a program administrator's office and like just slowly developed a relationship with her, where I would just like go in for 2 minutes on my walk to class that was near her office or something. And it became like a friendship, and that was like a huge thing that like she helped support me and like help plan out. Like I could really talk to her. So I definitely recommend, like, even if you're going in to talk to like a professor for 10 minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, like, and you don't have like necessarily like a question or like something you really want to talk to them about, don't feel like you need to have like a conversation planned that's important enough to talk to them. Just go talk to them.
I don't know if every pardon university does this, but I know UC Santa Cruz has both a residential college advisor and your major advisor and our minor. So definitely talking to my residential college advisor helped me stay on track, especially because I majored in something that, or was like kind of dabbling between two things. Just helped me stay on track so I could graduate in 4 years. And it also really helps to have those connections both at my residential college and my major advisor, because I was able to petition a couple of times for certain classes to count for general education classes. And that like knocked out some requirements and extra classes I would have had to have taken. And I don't know if they would have had that personal relationship with me if I would have been able to petition as easy and maybe get those approved. So making those connections is really helpful. And don't be afraid to like sometimes petition and argue for certain things that you want, because you may just end up like getting exactly what you need to either go the avenues you need or graduate on time, etc.
Yeah, just to add to that a little bit, you know, I'm sure other colleges do this too. At USC, you know, all the advisors, they definitely have like walk-in hours, you know, casual times where you can just go in and they send you emails every single week with, you know, 0 walk-in hours, things like that. They're definitely casual times to just, you know, go talk to your advisor. It doesn't have to be about anything pressing you're doing right now. I know I like after some of my classes, I would just, you know, on the way back to my room, I just, you know, pass by my advisor and say hi at least, or, you know, at least let them see your face sometimes to, you know, let them know you're there and stuff like that, and, you know, talk to them. One thing that, you know, my advisor really helped me with, and, you know, this kind of plays into like, you know, sometimes at bigger universities, there are, you know, classes that fill up really easily. So don't be afraid about too much of that stuff, especially your like major classes. Sometimes, you know, those you really need to take. So definitely let your advisor know, hey, this class filled up, and they'll definitely open up some spots. I definitely had some times where a class filled up, or it wasn't a required class, but I just really wanted to take it. And I just talked to my advisor, and within a few weeks, I was actually able to get into that class. They increased the number of spots. So, you know, they can increase spots sometimes if they see that there's a larger demand for a particular class. So talk to them about that. Ask them, you know, I really want to do this, or I want to do this program, and they'll definitely try to find their best way to help you out.
We're going to jump to questions because we want to try to end by 12:15. So we're going to go to a question. The first question was if anyone could talk about their experience that they did studying abroad.
I can go. I studied abroad in Sussex, which is in England. So wasn't really a culture shock. To be frank, I would honestly recommend going somewhere more exotic than that. But it was still a really cool experience. Obviously, with what's going on, I feel really thankful that I had that experience, and I hope you guys will be able to too. I found the classes to be, the program that I did was physics, and basically I got 3/4 worth of physics credit for 8 weeks of like an intensive physics course in Sussex. And although it was intensive, like it was a lot of class, it was easier than the physics that I would have had to otherwise take. And there was still plenty of time to like have fun, you know, explore. It was in Brighton, was the city that the university was in. So yeah, I would 100% recommend it if it's within your means.
So I didn't do an official study abroad with my university. I actually just so happened to stumble upon a separate program to shadow doctors, and well, I chose Spain specifically. I did it in Madrid for 3 weeks. So I would first recommend don't just limit yourself to what your college offers. There's a lot, like there's just a ton of programs out there for like literally anything. So just keep your mind open. And I did not think I would get into this program. I applied on a whim and I got in. So don't be afraid to just go for it. But I would recommend experiencing another country and for like a field you want to go into, because it also, maybe this is just my anthropology mindset, but gives you like a broader cultural perspective of what other people think of like physics, medicine, education, etc., other than just like an American mindset.
I went to Japan, which was so cool. I'm not an art major, but I went to take Japanese mokuhanga woodblock printmaking, and it was a summer course, so I didn't have to like not do what my major was, like in order, like during the quarter that I needed to do stuff for school. So it was a summer course. And I think do not let financial aid like intimidate you. There are so many opportunities and scholarships that could honestly just pay for your whole trip. Because that was my biggest fear, is just like it's really expensive. But there's different things. Like I got my summer program was only like 3 weeks, so it wasn't that long. I stayed longer, but they'll help you out. They'll definitely help you out, and everything is super organized. And then you can just also like wander off. Sorry, my internet is so bad.
Thank you, Riley. Okay, so next question. How difficult was it to adapt to a new environment with more people? So like, I guess a bigger school. Anybody wants to answer that?
I can kind of jump in here. So I I honestly found that going to a bigger school was like a blessing in a lot of ways. I think when you go to a big school like any of the UCs or even like a bigger, like, you know, I guess like a medium-sized school like Kate is saying with Villanova, you know, I think it kind of forces you to discover what you really, really, really actually like, and to kind of be honest with yourself about what you want to do, right? Because then it forces you to kind of hunker down and find those niche places where you fit in. And then it also kind of forces you to see how you stand out, right? And like, you know, that's, you know, society isn't, you know, like just, you know, not everybody gets a chance. You know, you kind of have to figure out what you want to do, what you can do that's of service to others, right? That, you know, that gets the attention that you need. So I mean, not to be a total, like, you know, try to be an alpha kind of person, you know, in the whole situation, but I think you learn a lot, definitely being at a bigger school. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have a little note to make. I'll try to be quick. So it is kind of hard being in like giant classes, like a 200 or plus or minus a bit person lecture. It's hard to get access to the professor. Honestly, people don't go to office hours that much. So you can get access to the professor, go to office hours, but it doesn't, I've only had a couple of really small classes where we were really talking amongst each other with the professor, and it was really nice. So it's hard at a big research university to find really great professors and like go after that. But whenever you can, my grandpa always told me to take professors, not classes. Most of the time that's not realistic, but whenever you can, if you hear about a really good professor, definitely go for it. And I agree with Patrick. It definitely forced me to get on my shell, find my place, all that stuff.
Okay, we're gonna try to move on. So what about using an iPad for note taking? Do you recommend that method? A lot of online people say that.
I use paper and pencil. I use a notebook. I call it my God notebook because I use like a 5 subject and it's super thick and it has everything in it. And I like it's my child, it's my baby. I love paper and pencil. For biology, I use pen. Everything else related to math is pencil.
Anybody else?
Yeah. So I use paper and pencil. I also like typing on my laptop in Google Docs, but my classes were really small and mostly seminars. So the professors often wouldn't let you type on your laptop or have a laptop open during class. At one point, I did use like an Apple Pencil and iPad to take notes because I thought it'd be like helpful for condensing things, studying, not wasting paper, having everything in one place. But I ended up like not really using it that much. It's fun for like the first class, but you retain so much more when you write it on paper, like so much more.
Okay, moving on. What advice would you give about going out of state for those of you who are out of state?
I mean, at first it might be a little tough to like be away from your family, like be in a different environment. Like I'm halfway across the country from my family most of the year, but I'd say it's really important to like find like a group of friends that they can really just hang out with all the time. Like for me in freshman year, I was lucky enough to make friends with people during orientation and managed to kind of just hang out with him all through the year. So that really helped with being away from family and stuff. But also like make sure you're able to like talk to your professors, talk to your advisors, since you won't be able to like be going home all the time. Yeah, they're there to help you. Like if you have any issues with anxiety or anything, like there are resources there for you to get through your problems.
Yeah, like Alex said, it can be super isolating. So I was in Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. And like if you can't go home for breaks, which it's hard to go home for breaks sometimes, I definitely say like go home with someone, a friend of yours who lives in the area for break. So at least you get off campus and can sort of like reset. And also I wanted a different lifestyle, or like to experience a different lifestyle. I was like, okay, this is the perfect time to live in a different place for 4 years and like see if I like it. But it can be really hard to adjust to that lifestyle. Like I think it's true of most private schools, especially on the East Coast. Like they're very preppy, like it's very white over there. It's a huge culture shock. And so take that in consideration.
One thing is that you're never going to get better weather if you leave the state. And actually weather does affect like your mental a lot. But I mean, it was cool. Like I still would do it again. It's like a very personal decision, but yeah, weather is a big factor.
Great. Okay, we got to move on. So what about, does anybody ever consider the cost of the college you're going to go to or you were applying to? Scholarships, financial aid, work study? What about your experiences with that?
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. I go to a really small school, which is nice because I feel like I can walk into the financial aid office and ask for help pretty easily. And last year, before like about 2 weeks or so before FAFSA was due, I straight up just like walked into the office, put myself down, like, please help me understand what all these words mean. And so that was one of the advantages of going to like a really small school, is that, you know, they're a little less like bureaucratic and red tapey, and you can just kind of talk to people and make things happen. But more general advice is that the sticker price for a college doesn't really tell you a lot about how much it's going to cost to go there. Like you shouldn't like look at the sticker price and be like, oh no, USC costs like $70,000 a year, I can't apply there. Just apply, and then once you get your financial aid package, then look, because every school can have very different financial aid packages, and it can be, and there's situations where it's cheaper to go to the school, to like the fancy private school with the more expensive sticker price than it is to go to your local public school. Yeah, just felt like saying that's important for people.
Also, sorry, Mason just reminded me of something about going to an out-of-state school in terms of sticker prices and stuff. It can be way more expensive than you think it's going to be, because not only do you possibly have to pay for flights to go home and stuff, which can add up very quickly, but also like there are other costs like buying stuff in the area, moving stuff in, storing stuff in the summer. So it can be like, they say that, oh, maybe you'll spend like $1,000 to $2,000 extra, but I feel like over the course of 3 years, it turned into a lot more than that.
Yeah, sort of to speak about those points, thank you for the shout out, Mason, of USC, but definitely, there's plenty of large colleges out there that there's the sticker price, and yes, sometimes it does end up being quite a bit, but definitely talk to your financial aid advisor early on about that. With USC, it's, if you're going in on the weekends, let's say, for example, it's pretty deserted, or there's not that many people, so it's not like you get the feeling of waiting in a line for 3 hours or anything. You can just go right in and they call you within 5-10 minutes, usually if you're on a weekend. I know when I went for they call it Explore USC sessions. I'm sure they have other sessions like that for other colleges too. One of the places I did visit, and they give you like a map of the whole campus for that too, is going to the financial aid office, and they definitely sit you down and talk about all the specific details. Most of the big colleges, they have like need-based programs. So if you have a certain amount of income, or things like that, and show your details, they'll definitely try to find a good package for you. You may not always get the good deal, but I do definitely recommend, especially if you're a senior or a junior thinking about college, keep that on your radar for thinking about it when you're applying, because it definitely impacts. And like Kate mentioned, those sort of other features other than what they tell you, definitely keep that in mind. Like for me, because I'm at USC, I can just take the train going back and forth. So transportation is really huge. Think about those types of like side costs that you don't always see on like a college application or like on a financial aid application as well.
Same with that. Think about housing. The Bay Area is the most expensive place to live. Like, it's just so expensive. But also to cope with things like that, I actually have 3 jobs. But one of my jobs is being an RA, which is super fun. That's a residential assistant in the residence halls. And it's super fun. You live with all the freshmen and you make sure they don't die, and you plan cool programs to just give them snacks and make sure they're okay. And I have so much fun and I love it so much. And also my housing is free. It's a really, really big financial gain there. And at Berkeley, my housing is actually more expensive than my tuition. But now, because I'm an RA, I get free housing. And so that's been the biggest like financial move for me personally.
Okay, well, let me just move on. We're going to try to end at 12:20. I'm going to push it back a little bit. So we have a question about choosing a college. Let's see what Josh, basically he chose a college that felt right, and it was hard to shake the feeling that he made the wrong decision because at the time he made the logical best choice. Any advice for him on that? Chloe?
I kind of, oh.
You can go first.
Go ahead. Okay. I kind of feel that. I felt like, how can I turn down offer from UCLA, like even if I feel like I want to go somewhere else, and I felt like it was really hard to shake that feeling as well. But at the end of the day, like the logical choice, I'm assuming you mean like it's kind of the best school, like you feel that you'll learn the best there. At least that's what like the logical choice for me was, and that is what you're there for. Like I'm here to learn, and that's like what I chose it for. And so beyond that, like you'll be able to like figure it out, have fun, like it'll be fun.
Just to add, my top choice school was actually in New York. I wanted to go to Manhattan College, and my second choice school was UMass Boston. I ended up choosing LMU because the financial aid package was better for me. And I spent a lot of the months between like May and like when I started, like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like it here. Like I don't want to really be here. This was my first choice. I got there and was like, okay, no, I love it here. I think it can go either way. I think you just need to open yourself up to the possibility that maybe this was, although more logical, was also like somewhere that you can like make a life for yourself and like enjoy. Just keep your mind open. Don't like shut yourself off already.
Okay, what about, is it hard to get classes at a big school, the classes that you want?
I will say that for me, it would have been more difficult had I not taken as many AP classes that I took. That really helped me. Now, if you didn't take AP classes or a lot, I don't want you to like panic either. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It can be hard. I had some friends that had later sign-up appointments, and it did delay the times when they were able to sign up for the classes they needed, and that might mean you have to take a summer class. Or I even have taken some classes at a community college to fulfill some prerequisites, as long as you can kind of like sometimes communicate with the college and university, hey, will this count, will it cross over or not? Those are like big things to consider. So it can be hard, I'm not gonna lie, but there are definitely ways around it.
Okay, and also, what about, we've got some juniors, what advice would you give to juniors who are going to be writing their personal statements?
I really want to talk about this. Sorry. I think it's really important to write them from your heart and to speak about things that you're passionate about, because there are a lot of high school students in the US, and there are a lot of high school students who do the same thing. But if you make them personal, I think that, and I can only speak about like UC essays because that's basically all I wrote. If you make them personal, that's really important. I wrote about the intersections of art and science because that's what I really love. And I wrote about feminism, and I don't really remember what else I wrote about. But those are things that I think are really important to me and things that I want to like scream from the rooftops about. And I think that as long as you're like conveying passion, I think that that's really good. And they don't have to be like academic related. It doesn't matter what you're passionate about. Like if your passion is completely not academics related, I think you really should be writing about things that are close to your own heart and your own personality that define you uniquely, rather than something that might look good on a resume or whatever.
So I actually worked in my admissions office my freshman and sophomore year. And I also work like off campus helping like kids write these essays. Basically write about you. It doesn't have to be like a serious, like, I don't know. I wrote about how my sister broke my Nintendo DS by putting toothpaste in it. I don't know. It's really there to show who you are as a person. They're not trying to see like a list of like accomplishments, although you can insert that if you'd like. But it's really just, who are you? What do you like? What do you like? Yeah, they just want to see that, because obviously they're not going to talk to you face to face. So they need like to see something that gives you more than just like stats.
Yeah, Chloe's example is perfect. Like take a small thing and then tell a story, and like put layers into it, and like it shows like your values and deeper things. But like take a small story or small thing. And because I felt like I was not necessarily passionate about anything in particular. So I found like brainstorming different ideas was really helpful, like little ideas. And then it's easier to just like go from there.
Okay. And then what about, how important is, this is the last question and we're going to have to end, but if someone wants to answer, how important is the first semester? Obviously a lot of schools because of COVID are going to be going online. So will they miss out a lot of important stuff like academic and social things?
If it's online, it's not going to be important, but if it's in person, I feel like it is kind of important. But it's nothing you can't like work around. People leave and join schools all the time, so.
Everyone's on their own track, and if your track is starting a semester later than other people, then that is totally fine. And I honestly don't think it should matter much. Everyone is on their own track.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess just one last thing, and I would just say it's really important as high school students and like going into college is really try to embrace your own journey. It's really easy to kind of compare ourselves with other people. Like we see someone getting into a school we really like or getting like an internship we really want. And it's really easy for us to kind of re-baseline our expectations for ourselves based on what we see in other people. But really, I would say it's good to look to others for inspiration and stuff like that and motivation, but never let it get to a point where you think negatively of yourself, and really just try to like embrace the journey that you're on. That's one thing that I kind of found really helpful because I didn't get into a lot of these schools that are represented here today. One last time, I'm from Cal Poly, studied industrial engineering, but I applied to a lot of these schools and I got rejected from a lot of them. And that's just kind of like a personal thing that I went through, and it really taught me the value of that. So yeah, toodaloo. I think that's the last thing I'm gonna say.
All right, everybody, thank you so much. For the attendees, if you have any questions, I know there's some people putting out their contact info. We're gonna ask the panelists to add their contact info to a Google Doc, and you can reach out to myself or Ms. Valverde for that information. This is being recorded and we'll be posting it to our future YouTube channel and or our website on the College and Career Center through at the CCHS. So thank you again for attending, and again, please reach out to us if you have any other questions. It's over.
Really, I also want to thank you guys. You guys did amazing. Thanks for giving back to Culver City High School. We're so pleased to see that everybody's doing so well and that you guys are all happy where you're at. But we miss you guys. Keep in touch.
Yes,
Good luck,
please.
everyone.
Thanks, alumni.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Anybody want to have a little Zoom?